The year is 1965. Ferdinand Alexander Porsche introduces the 911 Targa. The name itself came from the Targa Florio road in Sicily, Italy, where Porsche had enjoyed great motorsport success since the mid-1950s. Take your 911 in great style for a weekend trip in a beautiful convertible. However, the history of the Porsche 911 started in the 1963 Frankfurt Motor Show, and the turbo version, which is the second build of this set, was introduced in 1973 at the IAA Motor Show in Frankfurt, Germany, and then began production during the 1974 Paris Motor Show a year later. That's all the information for this beautiful manual. Welcome to the Cool Factor. This is Mike, the review of the 911 Porsche set 10295 with 1458 pieces, price tag of $150, and a beautiful manual that's coming with it, providing all the information on both versions, the Targa and the Turbo, which are given to us in this 2-in-1 set. The manual itself has some really nice things going on, also introduces some of the history of the Porsche, and a highlight of my favorite Lego designer, no one else but Mike Psiaki, who has designed such beauties as the Ecto-1, the Saturn V rocket, for example. He was working with the Ideas team back then. He did the Diner, he did the Mustang, he did the DB5 Aston Martin. This guy knows how to make cars. Let's see if he nailed it this time as well. I have built this set on a live stream. I went for the Targa version because I enjoyed the look of the convertible. We don't get convertibles quite often in Lego cars, so I went for this one. The way it's done is that you have 10 bags, 10 numbered bags in the set, and you skip one bag in favor of the other to choose your version. So later in this review, I'm gonna actually open bag number 9, which contains parts for the turbo version, and with bag number 10, you actually finish the car. So you actually have to take it apart quite a bit to switch in between versions. It's not so easy of a task as I was expecting to, but we're gonna see how it actually goes. So let's take a look at the Targa version, the 1965 Targa. Car is white, which is something new for Lego Creator. I mean, we had the Ecto-1 in white if you skip the rusty stickers, but after the cool yellow from the Fiat 500, this is a kind of like a very safe choice for Lego. Many people are just concerned if this car will stay white over time. You know, Lego bricks are known to become a bit yellowish when it comes to the white color over the time, but that may be a feature of the older Lego white bricks, and hopefully it will not be as present in the Turbo as time goes by, as I'm gonna keep this set in my collection. Let's see what we actually have here. The car, the looks are there. Obviously there's a few things that they did right, that Mike Psiaki did right, in order to keep the smooth curves of the Porsche intact in a Lego set. And you know, you may have been a bit of a critic maybe when he first introduced the DB5 Aston Martin. People called it blocky of a set. It had amazing features, but somehow a lot of people found the looks to be a bit too blocky, a bit too Lego-like. Porsche, on the other hand, I believe introduces the right curves in the right spots, which makes the Targa that much more beautiful to look at from every single angle. One thing to notice for certain is that the car is virtually studless. Ultimately, you have only studs on the back bumper, a bit of a top portion, introduces some studs, so that gives it away it's an actual Lego set. And same goes for some of the corners in the front of the car. Those are pretty much the only studs you will actually see throughout the build. Everything else is hidden away. Lots of tiles, lots of slopes used here just to make this that much more looking like a die-cast model. Looking at the Targa version in the front, by the way, the chassis of the car is the same between two versions. Up to bag number 8, you build basically the base of the car with the rear and the front, which are the same, and then on the rest of the bags, choosing your version, are building you the rear windshield and the roof in two different versions. So keep that in mind, that this is how the car is built. The front, however, remains the same. We have the classic looking Porsche look, of course, as classic as you can possibly get. You may say that the headlights might be just a bit oversized, and the longer I look at it, it kind of is. Maybe if you look at the pictures from the manual, the ratio of lights, of the headlights against the chassis is a bit smaller than the set, but I think, you know, they would have had to introduce possibly a bit of a smaller dish element to get those lights that much closer to the right size, but I think it wasn't even possible because you have to keep certain ratios of sizing in Lego pieces in order to make them work for everybody, right? For every single set. But still, it looks good. I don't really mind that they're look a bit oversized. It's not that a bit of a disaster that we had in that Porsche Technic set, that the headlights were just too crazy to many people's, myself included, opinion. In the creator set, I think that proportion is much better looking and it's not that bad overall. That out of the way, so I think that's the only thing I may notice about the front. Everything else is beautiful. So one thing to notice here for sure is that introduction of the sloped corner piece, sloped curved corner, which flushes out the lower portion of the car, that in such an amazing way. There's a similar situation happening in the back of the car, which are another special piece, but this works fantastic here. You can see the license plate here, so this one gives away the set number, and there's another Easter egg I can't really guess, so there's a little job for you, chat, to guess that. And while at the license plates, you can totally see the real license plate with Mike Psiakis, another license plate. And good thing to notice here is that there are no stickers in this set. We even had the stickers in the Ecto one, and we had the stickers in the Mustang. This time around, all the license plates are printed. We also have a secondary set of the license plates with SCU 6000. So I don't know if there's an Easter egg in there. Might be, might not be. Let me know what this means. Maybe there is some hidden message in there. And you're gonna be enjoying the fact that everything is printed. That goes for, as you can see right now, the Targa branding in the back. There is another one for the turbo version in the other back we're gonna build later. And the front Porsche emblem on the hood is also a printed element on a long 2x6 slope. With that, we can pop open the hood, and this is actually a functional thing for the Targa because the rooftop in the Targa is a thing that you are able to remove manually and fold, and you would store it in the front because it's a rear engine car. So the front is like is a trunk basically. There you go, you close it off, flashed in, and looks beautiful. The windshield, I gotta commend the windshield here because the way it's designed, as you engage the windshield during the build and lean it towards the back of the car to create the console, is a very clever build. You're gonna enjoy it when you get there, so I'm not gonna spoil it too much. As you can see, the side mirrors are built using a single curved plate brick, which works great in this situation. You can't really move the mirrors or anything like that, but I think they add this extra curve that the Porsche is so much known for. As we move to the right, we're getting to the doors, the car doors. And here's the cool feature. Actually, they do have like a micro engaging locking mechanism, so it's very satisfying. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that sound, but there's a bit of a snap when you close the door and engage them with the chassis. They actually kind of stay in place that way. The bad thing is that actually you can go get the door that way, which is not realistic, but you know, it's a Lego set, so you kind of sometimes things like that happen. So I don't really like that, but there is no way to nicely add any blocker there to keep that angle from going that crazy forward. The rear of the car is, I think, where you're gonna notice the new brick in use. So we have that new angled slope that flushes out the rear of the car. We have a left and the right version. And oh my, this just looks fantastic. It not only goes down, it's kind of like a cylindrical shape, more like a toric kind of. Both axles are kind of leaning to the side. It just flushes out the brick. Let me just see if I can take out this brick so I can actually show you how it works. Maybe on this side will be better. So if you look at it, it actually ends quicker on the one side and just leaves the little curve in here, and that was made specifically for the Porsche. I'm sure they tried to find a way to make it brick build, but in the end they ended up with a beautiful special mold to just make the Porsche work so well. And I'm glad they went that far to get it right. It looks just simply stunning on both sides. I also like the design for the rear windshield for the Targa version because it's using those large pillars in transparent and also half cylindrical windows that work so well. I can kind of remove it in a second so you can see it kind of disengages with the connection point. This thing basically is like almost like a display window from a grocery store or something, but you can see how well it engages the chassis of the car and how well it works covering the rear seats area. While I actually remove this, we can take a look at the interior. The interior remains the same between the Targa and the turbo versions. The cool thing about it is, of course, we do have steering, so something I should have shown before. The steering is a compact Technic mechanism. It's not too complex to build, possibly the most complex element of this car, but the way it's designed gives you the least possible friction, so it's super easy to steer the wheels, something I wasn't, for example, enjoying in the Mustang, where the wheels required some extra movement to get that steering wheel going. But this time around, it's super easy, super responsive, very lightweight, and works just fine. So I'm super happy with that. There's an instrument cluster in there as well, which is all printed, by the way. All the instruments are printed, no stickers here. We do have also the manual shifter and the handbrake, and the seats are built with the nougat and reddish brown colors, which resemble the classic 1960s Porsche seating quite well, I would say. Even the texture for that leather seats is preserved throughout those kind of like wooden pieces, wooden bricks that usually will resemble wood in other builds, but this time they work as a leather, and the seats actually fold forward as in the real Porsche, so you can get access to the rear seats that way. There is no other way. It is great. One of the best interiors you can possibly think of when it comes to creator cars. Very well made given the limited space. It's not a big car overall, but I think that the interior just works fantastic and is designed in the best possible way. Overall, I'm really impressed by the lack of gaps in this car. Pretty much every single thing every moment in the car when there's a shape is being changed or the direction of the curves is changing, the gaps are almost non-present. I should have mentioned that before, but even like you can again see how the doors are flushing together with the chassis. The gaps is minimal. I was impressed throughout the build how well Mike Siaki was managing the gaps in the car and trying to get the most sleek look possible with bricks in mind. Also look at the undercarriage of the car just to show you that it's mostly Technic underside, which is, you know, the usual thing. You can see the mechanism for the steering. That's how compact it is, how well it fits in. And one thing to notice here is that very cool situation with the rear axle. This thing is sideways, it's actually snapped in, so I'm not sure if I can do it, but there you go, I actually can do it. It actually is just a removable axle, so not sure why they did it, but I think it's for being compact. And as you can see right now as I have it in my hands, the rims in the Targa version are dark silver, which are reused from the Mustang, but as you will see in the turbo version, the rims come in black. You have extra set of 4 black rims that we'll be adding in a second. So with that in mind, let's engage this axle again to the car. Oh, there you go, and now it's engaged. Super cool fit actually. You can make your own mechanics on the car to like work on whatever. Let's switch to the turbo version, commencing now. Okay, the turbo is done. Man, it was more work than I thought it would be. It took a good 45 minutes to get it back. So here's my tray. These are my trays. Those are pieces left after the Targa. So some of these were used back into the model, but this is what's left over when you skip the Targa and just do the turbo. Kind of insane, I would say. It's a lot of effort, but is it worth it? I don't really know. I think the Targa still looks better. I think that's why I chose in the first place. But let's just go over quickly the differences of what Turbo offers. It's a 10-year younger car. It showed up on the market 10 years after the Targa. 10 years after the Targa, it had supercharged engine, turbocharged engine, of course. So that's hence the name Turbo. So you get the modified engine that way. So there's a supercharger, a turbocharger hidden beneath that black assembly. So there's a special hose in there. You don't see it from that angle, of course, because it's hidden inside the car, but it's there. So you get extra detailing here. You get the spoiler, obviously, with the turbo printed slope. Right, on top of that, of course, I forgot that the Porsche keeps that red printed Porsche logo in the back, which is in both versions of the car. And the spoiler, aesthetically speaking, some people may like it, some may don't. It definitely gives that turbo classic look that we are so used to from the vintage car, right? Then we have the roof completely reassembled, disassembled into a new build. You get new side windows. They have actual cool little detail, whereas this small print of an arc that goes well together with the white bricks. It just accents that special shape of the rear passenger window for the turbo, which they had to do something here. It's a printed little window on the side. You get those longer 2x6, 2x8 actually tiles for the roof. Roof is fixed in place, engaged with an extra bar in the middle of the car. There's an extra assembly there, so there's the biggest modification. And as you see, as I mentioned before, you get the black wheel rims, the same rims as we had before, but this time they come in black, so it gives you that super cool 80s turbo look, the 70s, 80s turbo look. And the wheel wells in the back are enlarged, just like in the turbo model, because the axle is a bit different, and apparently in the real turbo, the real tires were bigger to accommodate for the extra power given by the turbocharger and all that stuff. The model looks interesting still. Of course, it's a beautiful car overall, but I still prefer the Targa, and I think I'm gonna at some point spend extra time to get back to the Targa again and stuff like that. I forgot to mention that the blinkers in the front, I should have mentioned that way before in this review, but the blinkers in the front are transparent triangular window pieces that were first used in that Fiat 500. So this is a new color for this piece in transparent orange, which works great. In the back, the blinkers are basically just slopes in solid orange color, so that's a cool difference here and a cool little design choice. Alright, so now I'm stuck with the turbo. Not maybe stuck because I like both versions of the car, I just prefer the Targa better. I think just looks more like elegant in my opinion, because it was a car meant for more like road tripping than going crazy on track like the turbo did. Like basically Porsche was meant for it to be a day-to-day car, but the turbo was more of a track version with extra power given by the turbocharger, obviously. Right? Guys, hope you enjoyed this review. I hope it wasn't too long. I tried to go over this car in as much detail as possible, including both builds, both versions of the build to show you, so you can maybe choose which one you actually prefer more. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. It was Mike. I'm going to sleep. This was a long review. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Cool Factor. Bye.